It's time to start fourth panel discussion where you are moderating this session. So over to you, sir. And your profile we have already seen and we have seen your presentation. So the stage is all yours now for another 20 minutes.
Okay, I love this when they change the rules of the game at the last moment. But hey, they say that's what skills are for. So you learn, you adapt. And I think it's important to remember that it is a panel discussion and not a panel monologue. So we're going to keep this fun and interesting. I'm going to welcome for this panel discussion, my apologies, Neetu Arora from Govindgarh Public School, Gandhigarh. 𝗘𝗱𝗶𝗁𝗲, Principal of Bright Scholar School, Sonipat. Good afternoon and thank you. I'm sorry, did I get the city wrong? Okay, fine. Thank you. 𝗘𝗱𝗶𝗁𝗲, yes, okay, great. Deep Bedi, Principal of Mount Litteris Z School, Kharar. My apologies, Karnal. That's Dr. Suman Lata, Principal of Vidya Valley School, Kharar. Ashu Rathore Gupta, Principal, Guru Dronacharya Public School, Jind. And Bhavna, Principal, Shiv Shakti School, Sonipat. Do you all have mics? Okay, I think no, you should. So no, you need to have definitely more than one. So if you want to give yourselves a little bit of space so you can look at each other and not necessarily just the audience, that'll be good. I thought we'd make this a little bit of a real panel discussion. So it's been an interesting, firstly, thank you, ladies. How privileged am I? Just think about it. Really, how privileged am I? All right. But no, so seriously, thank you. Now, I know that you've come prepared with a topic in mind, and if I can find that topic, it'll be helpful. But since I can't, give me a second. The topic that we're really looking at is learning to become one with the world. Education for future survival. So let me try and put this in context. And we're going to do some multiple fire quick rounds, okay? No monologues, all right? In the last 120 odd years, we've grown from 1.7 to 8.7 billion people. We've seen psychometric testing to standardized testing. We've seen a village raises a child to the industrial size or industrial style education, which is almost factory-like, to home-based education. We've seen some brilliant pedagogies from seminal work in second language acquisition, James Scrivener, Bloom's taxonomy, multiple intelligences, micro-skilling theories, and so on. If I was to ask you in 3 words, each of you please, 3 words, how would you define education of the last 120 years? 3 words to define education in the last 120 years. 3 words. So we can make the sentences, but the adjectives or the adverbs that you use will help us understand your frame of reference. So learning, unlearning, relearning. So I think you'll please use the mic, so they will say, you know, I just drowned you out. So great.
Hello.
Yeah.
So it was basically learning, relearning, recreate, reimagine. All these things were there in last 120 years also.
Okay.
And more were there in last 2 years.
All right. So I got to be given a special award over here because I think I'm the only panelist, only moderator that has been able to get a complete agreement within 1 minute of starting this discussion. All right, you'd have to agree with that. And by the way, and no, this is meant to be a panel discussion with you. Is there any other word that you think you'd like to use that would describe education over the last 150 years?
This we left upon unlearn also.
Unlearn, yes.
Unlearn
and I think
then learn.
evolving.
Relearn.
Yeah, so I think we've kind of captured what the cycle of education ought to be, despite all the nomenclatures and terminologies that we may have thrown in along the way. Now, I have a question over here. There has never been a time like now when we've had the most educated people in the world, and never has there been more education than there is today. Yet, why are the discussions dominating world headlines issues that even a 10-year-old, I think, can address as right or wrong? So, competence-based teaching is needed. Can we get some more mics up here, please?
Good afternoon, everybody. I think a connect is the main.
So why don't you take my mic? I'll move over there.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is a little better. All right. I don't mean to be staring down at you, but hey. So, okay, the connect is not there. Okay.
The social skills, I believe, need to be really harnessed upon.
So that brings us to the important thing of skills.
Yes.
Social skills.
Yes.
So let's look at what's happening around the world. Okay. We've seen 2 world wars in the last 100 and odd years. We're on the precipice of seeing the 3rd World War. How has education helped? And how can education going forward avoid situations such as these? What are your thoughts?
These type of situations, like you're talking about war or any type of pandemic as it happened recently, education is the first thing that gets impacted. I mean, it's this is the effect, biggest effect it comes to education. Children are at home, they cannot move out, teachers cannot reach to the students. So there are many things, but then again, the blessing which is there, blessing in disguise, is the technology. Because of technology, we can reach to everyone. And everyone becomes a teacher. Let it be the grandfather or the grandma or the parents, the mother, uncle, aunt, anyone. Everyone became the teacher when everyone
So
was
I don't
at home.
think we are debating.
So this education is, the impact of all this is on education, and we can come over it.
I completely agree. So I don't think we're debating as to whether education is good or bad or how will it continue in difficult times. The question is, how can education improve our situation so that there was a time when countries fought countries. Today, peoples are fighting peoples within their own countries. All right? So I'm going to use a word over here called altruism. How can we bring that into education?
Education is the only instrument which can bring a change. So nowadays, that we are having the first generation who has been grown up and even growing up by using internet, and they are learning through internet only. So here there is a great need to make changes in the role of teacher. So now teacher is not here to give us stuff, okay, I am here, it's a stuff to learn. No, teacher will have to say that it's a problem, we will have to solve this problem. We will have to give active participation to the students so that they can come in front, they can discuss their ideas, and they can bring innovation, which is actually required in the education system. And we cannot teach them as teacher is standing in the front and students are sitting in the rows. No, we will have to provide them a diverse learning environment. When or wherever they are going, they can learn something different and they can innovate. So there is a need to develop critical thinking skills, cognitive abilities, creative thinking, which are really needed nowadays. As in one of the panel discussion, I have heard that future jobs are not known, but future skills, yes, there are future skills which we can develop amongst our learners.
Which is something that I also referred to, and I said that these are the skills we know that we need, even if we don't know what job is going to ask of it.
Yes, but still we are there.
About how to bring all this together.
What I'm really asking is that how can we make education, how can we make our learners more sensitive to what's happening around them, to live in harmony with one another?
That's main important thing is by collaboration. Let's collaborate with resources, different types of resources, from where we can get the knowledge. What is the source of knowledge? It can be from each one of us. I mean, we can share as we are sitting here through this panel discussion, we are discussing about knowledge. This is a knowledge sharing platform. So we know what people are doing across the world or around us. So we know somebody is doing something and which is doing very well. 𝗖𝗍𝗍 is changing so many things. We recently the change is skill hubs, which has been done up in schools. So these types of things, when even the higher education, the colleges, universities and schools, they don't have a gap. We are collaborating with each other. That collaboration is very important nowadays.
Yeah, please.
So your question was with respect to, am I audible?
Oh, very much.
Pretty audible.
So your question was with respect to the World War and all. We had a generation of silent people after World War. Then we had baby boomers, those who laid more stress on work. Then we had generation X, that is internet. Then we had generation Y, that they balanced work with the life, and they had internet as well. And then generation Z is there now, which has more of lateral thinking and question the authority. And to your question that how can we bring in altruism in nowadays in our children, the answer I think so has been given very nicely by Mannaji, that we have to blend the Gurukul era values with the modern education, give them examples of how Guru Gobind Singh Ji had sacrificed his Sahibzadas and his family. Guru 𝗘𝗱𝗶𝗁 Ji sacrificed his life for everyone. We have to give examples of altruism of Prem Ji or Mother Teresa, and also that children have mindfulness, and as Nam said, that has to be collaborated, and that oneness feeling has to be.
So I think the essential word over here, thank you.
Yes, correct.
I think the one key takeaway over here is the human connect needs to come in.
And spirituality.
Spirituality. I'm very glad that word came up, because normally they say, sorry, go ahead.
Spirituality is the lifeblood, I believe.
And I believe that without
Sorry. Go ahead.
What is required to develop a connect, as well as all this mindfulness of what we are talking about. Education should be a tool to bring out the change through empathy, empathetical education.
I completely agree with you, and I'm yes.
We're talking about different aspects. We are talking about empathy, we are talking about other skills. I do agree with that. We need to teach the parent how to create that empathy when the father is telling and feeding a mind of a child, do not share your tiffin with your friend. And if Bani, banana, dinner, do not share it is for you. How can we teach empathy in the school? Dear sir, we need to teach these to the parent, these things to the parent, that only we can create the leader of the 21st century. Thank you.
What do you all think? What do you all think?
Yes, the social and emotional part that is to be imbibed via education, like technically how much advanced we are, but the warmth of relationships, like the teacher and student relationship, that is I think missing in this technical world. ये जो रिलेशनशिप है, हम टेक्निकली कितना भी एडवांस क्यों ना कर लें, बट जो हमारी नेचुरल चीज़ें हैं वी शुड नॉट लूज देम, अदरवाइज जो भी हमारी एक कनेक्ट है सोसाइटी का, दैट वी विल लूज.
So then this brings up an interesting thing. You're talking about using a lot of human skills, a lot of human intelligence, a lot of human abilities, and we're also talking at the same time about digital. Are we on two different paths, or are we on two different tracks on the same rail set, or are we headed in opposite direction, or where is the point of convergence coming in?
Actually अभी के टाइम में जो चल रहा है, एक्चुअली वी आर रनिंग ऑन टू डिफरेंट पाथ्स, बट इट इज़ अप टू अस हाउ वी विल सेट अप अ ट्रेड ऑफ, हाउ वी विल सेट अप अ बैलेंस बिटवीन द टू, बिकॉज बोथ थिंग्स आर नेसेसरी फॉर द सोसाइटी एंड फॉर द कंट्री. सो इट इज़ up to us how we will create a balance in the technical things and in the natural.
So I have a different, yes.
Here, when our students are having all the information at a one fingertip only, so the role of the teacher is to that how our children, how our student will be able to make ethical judgments. They'll be able to analyze their research results, as well as how will they be able to interpret that what knowledge is ethical or what knowledge is not ethical, what is valid or what is not valid. So here there is a big challenge for the teachers that how to role as a facilitator in this digital world, when technology is at the heart of each and everything, is at the heart of all the educational processes. So
Okay. All right, I get that.
I think technology is just a tool. I mean,
So I'm
we
now
are
going
not
to
into
ask you,
divergent paths.
I'm going to ask you to do the impossible. I'm going to ask you to be clairvoyant and say, in literally 30 seconds, what does education look like to you in 2050?
Sir, to imagine it in 2050, it would be really too early. As in last 2 years, whatever changes have been happened, I don't think that anybody must have imagined it. Because in 2050, we can just say that technology will be at the heart, and moreover, there will be flipped learning.
I think we started with unlearning, and we will be doing the same in 2050 as well.
I'm glad I've kind of landed up at the same place where I began. Unlearning, relearning. The only difference now is
And remaining
upskilling,
productive.
reskilling, retooling.
And remaining productive.
Yes? To learn, to yearn, and to burn. Very interesting. All right, so on that, ladies, I'm going to say thank you very much. All right, we've run out of time, and I am mindful that...
Just one thing I want to add
Yes,
to this.
please.
2050, when we are talking about, if we talk about syllabi, as you were saying, we design syllabi. And syllabi come from different agencies, from NCERT, from senior higher secondary, we get it from AICT, and different agencies are there. But if we talk about the future plans of syllabi, how to design it and devise it, that's a big question. Maybe the history is changing. If we talk about every day, we are listening to it.
So you're absolutely right.
Isn't
So
it?
one is
So
syllabi.
Yeah, that
I
is
think the
very,
other part,
very important. And the skills to be implemented into it.
I'm sorry I'm disturbing you. I have to just mention 2 things, if you allow me. My name is 𝗙𝗱𝗶𝗁𝗂. I am the principal of 𝗘𝗱𝗶𝗁𝗂. We got independence in 1947, as far as India is concerned. And in last 2 years, what shift it has seen, it never saw in last so many years. So these 2 years have changed the entire life of our human race. So I think that what has happened that, it's okay ma'am, thank you. So what has happened that the concentration part has been distracted. That distraction has to be concentrated. That is the most important thing in education.
Sure. All right, thank you. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much. All right, I think we've got a couple of good key takeaways. Yearn, learn, burn. All right. Reschool, upskill, retool, relearn, unlearn.
I think nothing is going to remain basic.
Nothing's going to remain the same. Ma'am, please don't use one more quote to quote all of this, because then all the unlearning will start.
Just in a single word, that is Urdu. Let this generation understand I
So I agree with you. In fact, that's what we've always, and that's why I offered to moderate this session, because at Trinity, for the last 100 odd years, we've taken what typically are considered extracurricular areas and subjects, brought it mainstream, and looked at the developmental power that those skills have, all right, on shaping human behavior. And I think what we've learned over here today is that essentially it'll always come down to human behavior. And that's an area that we need to work on. That's an area which involves both knowledge, learning, relearning, but most importantly, involves the heart, involves spirituality. And I think that as educators, we have to remember the heart is very important. So on that note, I'm going to leave my heart with you and say thank you for your time. And thank you, ladies from the panel. And thank you, all of you. All right, shall see you soon. Ciao.
To the dignitaries. First to 𝗙𝗱𝗶𝗁𝗲, sir.
No, first to the ladies.
Because you moderated this session, sir. Okay.
Get all the other.
Kiran Dalal, ma'am.
Do one thing, yeah. Just bring all the other things. Put that on top of mine and you can give me my glass.
Deep Bedi, ma'am. Dr. Suman Lata, ma'am. Ashu Rathore Gupta. Bhavna, ma'am. Neetu Arora, ma'am. Neeru, sorry. Now to 𝗙𝗱𝗶𝗁𝗲, sir.
This is